Just as Song Wenjing and I were getting our marriage license at the Civil Affairs Bureau, he got called away by a phone call. He only left me with one sentence: "Something urgent came up. Let's reschedule the registration." Then he rushed off, left me alone at the marriage registration office surrounded by couples, all because his childhood sweetheart took a tumble down the stairs and sprained her ankle. A while later, another message came through: "Yoroiro's condition is worse than expected. I need to stay with her. Let's reschedule tomorrow's wedding." I've lost count of how many times Song Wenjing chose Yoon Yaro over me. This time, I didn't throw my usual jealous tantrum before giving in. The staff member looked at me with pity and asked, "Is this lady still being served?" I took out my phone and texted the man who owed me a promise. "Will proceed." 1. Sitting on the waiting bench in the Civil Affairs Bureau, I stared at the reply on my phone: "Wait for me. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Just as I was spacing out, Mom called. Ran, you've gotten your marriage certificate with Wenjing, right? Come to Ocean View Hotel, our families should have dinner together." Hearing Mom's words, I remained surprisingly calm. "Mom, we didn't get married. Yoon Yaro sprained her ankle, and he went to the hospital with her." I wasn't that upset. It's happened too many times before. I'm used to it now. My mother absolutely lost it when she heard. She's been a powerhouse in the business world for years and hasn't flown off the handle like this in ages. Change the date, just like that. These are all distinguished family friends he's invited. Does he think this is some childish game, making all these people accommodate him, if word gets out? Has he even considered how this reflects on you? The words caught in my throat. Suddenly I remembered all my years of stubborn persistence and reluctant concessions. Sighed deeply. Ran. "What do you think? Mom respects your opinion." Her composed expression instantly crumbled upon hearing those words. She hung up the phone. Over the years, I've done countless foolish things for Song Wenjing and compromised too many principles for him. We met, connected, and fell in love during college, sharing wonderful years together on campus. After graduation, with both our families being local, we smoothly began discussing engagement plans. For a time, I truly believed I was the happiest person alive, until Yoon Yaro entered the picture. 2. The day after our engagement, we'd planned to catch a movie, but he got called away by a phone call the moment we met. From then on, him being summoned by calls became routine. He tried explaining it to me. His childhood friend was returning home, and he went to pick her up. Her family went bankrupt. Both her parents died in a car accident, leaving her an orphaned girl. It's truly heartbreaking. Her parents had been very kind to him when they were alive. Her name is Yoon Yao. From that day on, Song Wenjing kept getting summoned away, and our time together grew increasingly scarce. He adored Lego, so I splurged on a limited edition set. After painstakingly assembling it for weeks, I presented it to him eagerly. Seeing his delight filled me with contentment. The cruel irony was, whatever he cherished, Yoon Yao cherished too. She playfully asked him for it, and though reluctant, he gave in. When I found out, I was heartbroken and even cried in secret. When we met again, he explained, "She's just a friend." I couldn't say no. "Don't overthink it. There's nothing between us. I'll make you one another day." Just like that, I was appeased. He's genuinely kind, thoughtful with everyone he meets. About 6 months into our engagement, we went hiking with friends. Yoon Yaro was unexpectedly among them. It wasn't my first time seeing her, but it was the first time I clearly understood her intentions. Halfway up, as we lagged slightly behind, Yoon Yaro suddenly bumped into me with feigned casualness. We tumbled off the steps, rolling down the mountainside. My arm throbbed unbearably, completely immobile as I turned to glare at Yoon Yaro in furious bewilderment. Yet she leaned closer, pressing her lips to my ear. "Sister Ran, if I told Wenjing it was you who bumped into me, do you think he'd believe me? Would he take your side or mine?" As Wenjing Song and a few friends came rushing over at the sound, I saw Yoon Yaro weeping softly with pearly tears. "Sister Ran, maybe you were just tired from hiking and lost your balance when you accidentally bumped into me." She finished speaking and stole a timid glance in my direction. I wanted to explain but froze mid-motion when my eyes met Song Wenjing's. He didn't believe me. Holding Yoon Yaro in his arms, he looked down at me with cold detachment. Ran, stop being unreasonable, right? Just because I'd argued with him twice about Yoon Yaro before, now everything's automatically my fault, making a scene for nothing. Never thought I'd be the butt of this tired old joke. That day I watched him carry Yoon Yaro further and further away. The friends were all at a loss, offering scattered words of comfort. Ran, we know you're not that kind of person. Exactly, don't take it to heart. Wenjing just saw how badly Yaro was scraped, her hands were covered in blood. I shook my head. It's fine, you guys keep climbing, I'll head down first. I originally wanted a friend to accompany me down. I declined, no need to ruin my friend's fun. No one noticed my dislocated arm, the bloody mess it was, as I gritted my teeth through the pain descending the mountain, called 120 myself. While waiting for the ambulance, I lost consciousness from exhaustion. A second before blacking out, I heard a panicked voice, Ning Gran, lifting my head. The voice from memory overlapped with the one whispering in my ear. Dazed, I turned toward the newcomer, Chi Huaiji, the helmsman of Chi Group, orphaned young. He not only safeguarded his parents' legacy but propelled the conglomerate to unprecedented heights, reigning supreme in their elite social circle. Our meeting was pure chance. I visited my grandma's place right after high school graduation. There I happened to save him once, nursed him back to health, before leaving. He gave me his contact with a promise any favor within his power, no questions asked. Our families started visiting occasionally, we kept running into each other, and gradually became close. So when did we drift apart? It's been 2 or 3 years since I confessed to my family about being with Song Wenjing, yet we haven't met even once. When I messaged him, I was actually quite nervous. After all, he's unpredictable and acts so aloof, but scanning the entire circle. He's the only one I could think of. The Song family holds considerable influence. He's the only one bold enough to marry me under these circumstances. Wonder if he's changed his contact details. Wonder if he still remembers that promise. Now gazing at this strikingly handsome yet aloof man in his tailored suit, he clearly rushed here straight from a business engagement. My eyes grew slightly red, my vision gradually blurring with rising moisture. I seemed to hear Chi Huaiji sigh as he reached out to gently wipe the teardrops from my lashes. Why the tears? Didn't you ask me here to register our marriage? Having second thoughts, I shook my head and pulled him into the registration office, handed over the documents to the stunned staff, and everything was processed in just over 10 minutes. Who knew getting married could be this quick? Yet Song Wenjing couldn't even spare those few minutes to wait with me, or maybe he just didn't want to keep his childhood sweetheart waiting. 3. Standing at my doorstep, I stared at the crimson booklet in my hands. I took a deep breath. Right after we stepped out of the civil affairs office, Chi Huaiji rushed off. Apparently he couldn't miss an important government tender and needed to hurry back. Before leaving, he gazed at me with profound intensity in his eyes. Don't worry. Tomorrow's wedding is still on. I nodded while texting him, having explained the whole situation clearly. Just as I was about to call the driver, a call came through right then. It was Song Wenjing answering the call, his voice as gentle and composed as ever. Ran, I'm sorry. I thought he was apologizing for abandoning me at the civil registry and calling off our wedding. Just as I was about to respond, Yoon Yaro's sickly sweet voice came through. Ran, I'm so sorry. I accidentally ruined your wedding dress. I'm truly sorry. Ran. Sob. Song Wenjing immediately began comforting her softly. It's all right. Don't cry. Ran isn't someone who holds grudges over small things. Then he spoke to me again. Ran, since tomorrow's wedding is cancelled anyway, I'll take you to pick a better wedding dress another day. I didn't want to talk anymore, exhausted, drained. I didn't ask why they weren't at the hospital, but in our new home where my wedding dress hung. I won't ask Song Wenjing if he's forgotten that wedding dress we designed together in college. It meant everything. No more questions. What's the point? I'm married now, aren't I? I won't deny those days with Song Wenjing were joyful, downright blissful during our college years. I won't deny Song Wenjing's genuine feelings for me, eyes never lie. But that sincerity wasn't meant for me alone. Ever since Yoon Yaro appeared, I ceased to be his favorite. I still remember one gathering. Being a lightweight drinker, I started feeling tipsy after just a few glasses and excused myself to the restroom. When I returned, I caught that drunken declaration at just the right moment. Brother Jing, I'll never marry anyone but you in this lifetime. The private room fell into stunned silence the moment these words were spoken. Everyone knew Song Wenjing was already engaged, so a friend lightened the mood by changing the subject. I remained by the doorway, holding my breath as I waited for Song Wenjing's response. What came instead was a gentle reminder. I'll get some sobering soup. Yaro will have a headache soon. Keep an eye on her. I can't quite put my finger on what I was feeling at that moment, disappointment, or something else. It didn't matter anymore. I was spoiled rotten growing up, yet Song Wenjing caused me the deepest heartaches of my life. After compromising for so long, looking back now feels like sheer madness. Not affection meant for me alone, not exclusive favoritism. I don't want it anymore. It's fine. Since it's broken, just discard it. My voice sounded flat and emotionless. Song Wenjing froze instead. No jealousy, no resentment, none of the expected arguments. He should have felt relieved. Yet inexplicably, a wave of panic surged through Song Wenjing. Anything else? I don't want to continue this meaningless conversation, I said. Song Wenjing opened his mouth but remained silent in the end. Never mind. Just as I was about to hang up, Yun Yao's faint voice came through. Brother Jing, do these clothes I packed for you look alright? I hung up the phone with an expressionless face. Song Wenjing immediately checked his phone at the sound, his heart sinking when he saw the disconnected call screen. He lifted his head and shot Yun Yao an irritated glare. Don't bother packing my clothes. I'll deliver them myself and come right back after getting settled. Yun Yao's eyes instantly welled up with tears. Brother Jing, you're all I have left. Are you really going to abandon me too? Song Wenjing's gaze softened. I won't abandon you, Yao. But you need to learn independence. After sending you there, I'll be getting married too, if not for your urgent injury. I'd be welcoming your sister-in-law into our home tomorrow. A flash of sorrow crossed Yun Yao's eyes before they hardened with resolve. 4. I stepped aside hesitantly as the Maybach came to a stop before me. The luxury sedan halted. A man around 40 emerged and approached me. With a warm smile, he asked, Miss Ning, I presume. I nodded. And you are? Turned out to be the driver Chi Huaiji sent to take me home. Couldn't help smiling to myself. Maybe this marriage wouldn't be so bad after all. The moment I stepped through the door, Mother greeted me with her usual exasperated lecturing. Mom was really getting worked up. I quickly pulled out our still-warm marriage certificate. That successfully cooled Mom's temper. Dad sat by the piano giving himself a thumbs up. I lifted my head triumphantly. My mom muttered, Didn't they say that Song family's boy left? Her. My mom widened her eyes, glancing between the marriage certificate, me, and my dad. What the? Seeing my usually decisive mother frozen like this, my father came over too, after examining the names and photos on the marriage certificate. They both stared at me with identical shocked expressions. I calmly walked to the sofa and sat down, asking the housekeeper to pour me a glass of lemon water. My parents sat beside me and asked cautiously, Sweetheart, what's going on? I nodded. Mom, Dad, I won't be marrying Song Wenjing. From now on, I won't be chasing after him getting jealous or throwing tantrums. My words hung in the air. My parents froze momentarily before breaking into delighted smiles. Sweetheart, you've come around. I nodded solemnly. Yes, Chi Huaiji and I already got our marriage certificate. My father's face instantly lit up with joy. You should have realized sooner, sweetheart. That Song Wenjing's nothing but a pretty face, a total player. Couldn't stand him from the start. My mom waved the marriage certificate. But honey, what's this? Tomorrow's wedding. I looked up at Mom. The wedding will proceed as scheduled tomorrow. This marriage must go on. The Ning family has been in business for a century. I can't be the one to tarnish its reputation. After graduation, I didn't join the family business. Chasing after him for so long, lowering myself to jealousy and arguments, it's been utterly humiliating. After dinner, I sorted through the betrothal gifts from the Song family. Wenjing had clearly put tremendous care into selecting the finest offerings, proof of how seriously he takes our wedding. His devotion shows in every detail. In the end, you still chose Yun Yao over me. My phone rang. I glanced at the screen. It was Song Wenjing. 5. The October night carried a slight chill. Stars dotted the sky as a gentle breeze carried the fragrance of garden foliage and blossoms, utterly delightful. I pushed open the courtyard gate. There he stood beneath the street lamp, impossible to miss. Just like our first meeting, his handsome features carried an air of refreshing clarity. Her eyes lit up the moment she saw me. So beautiful. My heart swelled. This was exactly why I'd adored her for years. Ran, have you eaten? I nodded and asked, What brings you here? Song Wenjing glanced at my expression. Ran, I'm sorry about today, I broke our promise, I said flatly. It's fine, I'm used to it. After Ning Ran hung up, Song Wenjing grew restless all afternoon. Haunted by a sense of loss, he decided to visit her before his flight to North America. Watching Ning Ran's composed demeanor now, she seemed fine yet not quite. After a moment's thought, Song Wenjing turned to me. Ran, are you mad at me? Mad that I left you alone at the Civil Affairs office? Mad that I postponed our wedding? See, he knew I'd be angry, but did it anyway. Why? Probably because I'm pathetic. Every time he ditched me for his precious Yunyao, I'd throw tantrums and rage. But I always forgave him, because I was crazy about him. Song Wenjing knew exactly how smitten I was. That's why he took my devotion for granted, yet always withheld his own affection. Seeing my increasingly frosty expression, Song Wenjing mistook it for anger and actually breathed a sigh of relief. A glimmer of secret delight flashed in his eyes, just anger that needed explaining and a little coaxing to fix. Song Wenjing ruffled my hair, letting go just before I could pull away. Ran, Yoroiro's ankle injury is severe. She needs specialists in North America for treatment. Time is critical. She must undergo surgery within 48 hours or risk permanent complications. That's why I have to accompany her. My eyes flashed with scorn. What? Is there no one else in this world? Are the assistants and caretakers all dead? Must you be the only one accompanying her? Should we just disregard our wedding arrangements? Disapproval flickered in Song Wenjing's eyes. Ran, you're the only one in my heart. Don't make a scene, I just see her as a little sister. I can't leave her alone in a foreign country. Once she's settled, I'll come right back to you. Ran, I promise to make it up to you with an even grander wedding when I return. I desperately wanted to ask him, did he have any idea how much changing the wedding date for Yunyao would hurt me? But before the words could leave my lips, his ringtone cut me off. It was Yunyao, her personalized ringtone. Because of this, Yunyao even bragged about it right in front of me. When Song Wenjing heard it, he said nonchalantly, Ran, she set this up herself using my phone back in high school. Maybe you should set one too, I'd recognize your voice instantly. That got me thinking, so early on. Song Wenjing let Yunyao use his phone whenever she wanted. To Song Wenjing, Yunyao had always been someone special. Long before I came along, Song Wenjing had already favored Yunyao. I was never his only exception. I didn't set it up, gave it to someone else. I don't want it, looking back now. It's almost funny how I seem to be the third wheel. After all these years of liking him, my heart still skipped a beat uncontrollably when I saw him downstairs. Now, watching him answer the phone, hearing Yunyao's coquettish tone on the other end. Brother Jing, where are you? They're about to start boarding. Song Wenjing soothed softly. Be good Yao, stay still and watch your feet. I'll be right there. After coaxing for a while longer, they hung up and suddenly looked at me with slight embarrassment. Checking the time again. I've got to go. Ran, we're running late. Watching his slightly flustered expression, I began. Song Wenjing, I've already. Beep. The car horn cut me off mid-sentence. But Song Wenjing seemed relieved as he stepped forward and pulled me into a tight embrace. Ran, wait for me. I'll come back to marry you. Then he hurried away. I didn't speak again, there would be no more chances. Song Wenjing got into the car and glanced back at the girl standing alone under the streetlight, feeling a sudden pang in his chest. Then came endless dread. A voice screamed at him to get out, hold her tight, and tell her he wasn't going to North America. Just as the retreating figure grew smaller and the word "stop the car" rose to his lips, his phone rang. It was Yunyao. Song Wenjing fell silent. 6. The wedding ceremony is about to begin. I gazed absently at my reflection adorned in the majestic phoenix coronet and embroidered robe. Unlike the Western-style wedding Song Wenjing had prepared, today's ceremony is a traditional Chinese wedding that Qi Huaizhi announced just last night. Watching Song Wenjing walk away without looking back yesterday, I felt a pang of sadness but mostly relief. Same as always, I'm never his unwavering choice. Whatever, let it be. Just as I turned to head home, I spotted a car at the corner. The vehicle pulled up close, trailed by an entire convoy. Qi Huaizhi stepped out, leading a group carrying various items toward us. I felt both guilty and puzzled, unsure if he'd spotted Song Wenjing, and wondering why he'd come. Why are you standing outside? Came his deep, resonant voice. Thinking they probably hadn't noticed, I chuckled to myself. Taking a stroll. What brings you here? When Chihuai mentioned he'd come with betrothal gifts, it took me a moment to process. Then I heard my mother's voice. Huaiji's here, sweetheart. Why are you just standing there? Bring him inside. Feeling somewhat dazed, I led him in and sat on the couch. Watching Chi Huaiji chatting merrily with my parents made the whole world seem surreal. The clamor from outside snapped me out of my thoughts. As the time approached, I slowly made my way to the door and overheard murmurs from outside. Everyone in our circle knows Yunyaro has feelings for Song Wenjing. This whole drama is clearly her trying to stop his wedding with Ning Gran. Did you hear Song Wenjing actually followed Yunyaro to North America? Just because she twisted her ankle, he was so worried. She's obviously the apple of his eye. With the groom gone, they're calling it a postponement. But let's be real, it's a cancellation. Ning Gran couldn't even compete after years together. One little act of coquetry from Yunyaro and she's out. Funny how Ning Gran used to be the top beauty in our circle, acting all high and mighty. Who'd have thought she'd end up like this? My reputation's ruined. What man would want me now? The Songs called yesterday saying today's wedding was off. Then the Nings immediately phoned insisting it's still on. What's going on? Are these families starting a feud? Same here. I'd already cleared my schedule weeks ago, might as well enjoy the drama. Listening to them, I had to admit they made fair points. The crowd always sees things clearly. As for me, Song Wenjing couldn't care less about these things. He'd never understand how humiliating it was in our social circle when I postponed the wedding for Yuan Yao. Time's up. As I stepped out, I spotted those people who clearly didn't realize this was the dressing room. They sheepishly wished me happy wedding as I walked out. I smiled faintly and murmured thanks. Thanks indeed for making me realize I'm just a clown. None of the guests knew about the switch, all waiting to see how I'd handle this mess. The entire room gasped when Chi Huaiji appeared dressed in groom's attire. A stunned silence fell before erupting into instant commotion. His cool, deep voice cut through the noise, quieting the crowd. From beginning to end, today's wedding has always been between Chi Huaiji and Ning Gran. Does everyone understand? The guests responded enthusiastically with continuous congratulations. The wedding ceremony proceeded smoothly. October 20th was the date Song Wenjing and I chose together. I thought today would be our happiest day. But, Song Wenjing, today I got married, and you weren't the groom. Glancing at Chi Huaiji beside me, I found myself quite the catch. After the ceremony, I went to change into my toast dress. Then came the endless hustle. My feet ached from walking, and though I didn't drink much, I was feeling tipsy. When the banquet finally concluded, Chi Huaiji practically carried me back to our chamber. Didn't overthink it, just felt utterly exhausted, took a blissfully relaxing bath, collapsed onto the bed, couldn't even muster the energy to move. Who knew getting married could be this draining? The door creaked open as I saw Chi Huaiji walk into the bathroom with his robe, bolted upright instantly, had completely forgotten there was someone else in the room. And he's my newlywed husband. Tonight being our wedding night makes it all the more intense. Just thinking about it made my cheeks burn crimson. When he stepped out of the shower, I stole a glance and sighed in relief. He was decently covered. Through my periphery, I saw him drawing closer, my fingers unconsciously clutching the sheets until I could feel his warm breath against my flushed ear. Then came a soft chuckle. Looking up abruptly, I found myself lost in twinkling eyes brimming with amusement. My hand was gently pried away by another, larger, slender-fingered one. Stop clutching like that, you'll hurt yourself. I averted my gaze uncomfortably. Chi Huaiji stood up and walked to the other side of the bed. Our marriage happened in haste. I know you're not ready yet, we'll take it slow. I won't go back on my word. You have my promise. I nodded. He knew all about my lingering unease regarding Song Wenjing, the guilt that had been weighing on me. A sudden wave of inexplicable self-pity washed over me. Marrying him in such haste, I wonder if I'll regret it someday. But right now, all I feel is peace. 7. Sharing a bed with a near stranger in unfamiliar surroundings. I thought sleep would elude me, fell asleep surprisingly fast. Waking up the next morning, I sleepily nuzzled into the hug pillow in my arms. That's not right. Coming to my senses, I quietly loosened my grip and glanced upward, meeting a pair of alert, profound eyes gazing at me with faint amusement. My cheeks instantly burned crimson as I hastily sat upright. Sorry, so sorry, I'm a messy sleeper. Chi Huaiji reached up to ruffle my hair. No need to apologize, we're married. After finishing my morning routine, Chi Hui glanced at me and said, Let's go check out our marital home." Without much thought, I followed along. To my delightful surprise, our new home turned out to be right next door to my parents' house. I was so excited. Darting around the lobby non-stop, eager to explore every corner, Chi Huaiji stood by the sofa watching me with an amused smile. I thought letting go of Song Wenjing would leave me devastated for ages, but truth be told, love that faded gradually brought more melancholy than heartbreak, and ultimately relief. 1 week into marriage, Song Wenjing never reached out to me once. What a disappointment. Shows how much he cares, devoting himself entirely to his childhood sweetheart. Had I not married Chi Huaiji, this past week would have been unbearable. I dread to imagine how vicious the gossip outside would have become. Song Wenjing, I won't wait for you anymore. But this slight disappointment didn't dampen my spirits. Seeing Chi Huaiji approaching, I smiled with quiet acceptance. Now I have someone precious to cherish. This is truly my life. Chi Huaiji treats me exceptionally well. It took me completely by surprise. In my plans, he should neither oppose nor particularly favor this marriage. Rumor had it he wasn't attached to anyone, which is why I invoked this promise. Yet his kindness gave me the illusion that he might actually care for me. So I watched the man working diligently in his study. Chi Huaiji, what's wrong? Did you agree to marry me just to keep your promise? Or, I wanted to ask if he liked me, but couldn't bring myself to say it. Better not humiliate myself. Smiling self-deprecatingly, never mind. Go ahead with your work. Maybe he's just being nice out of respect for his wife. Better not read too much into it. As I turned to leave, I was pulled into an embrace carrying a crisp, cool fragrance. A sigh drifted down from above me. Ran. I thought I'd made myself perfectly clear. I froze, my voice trembling as I wondered if my suspicion was correct. What do you mean? Chi Huaiji looked solemnly into my eyes as he lowered his head. Ran, I've loved you for a long time. 8. Since we live close to my parents' place, Chi Huaiji, and I often drop by my mom's for free meals. My father excels at playing piano and is also a masterful cook. He often brags to me about how he first caught my mother's eye with his piano skills, then won her heart through his delicious cooking, ultimately conquering that once unattainable proud rose. Listening with starry-eyed admiration, noticing this, Chi Huaiji leaned close and whispered tenderly, "If you like it, I'll make it for you too." Seeing my parents' teasing glances from across the table, my face flushed crimson instantly. Who said I liked it? Ever since Chi Huaiji confessed his feelings that day, we've grown much closer. That's when I realized he'd fallen for me at first sight. I'd been in his heart all this time. I'll admit I was secretly thrilled. Even bragged about it to my mom. She just rolled her eyes at me. I knew it all along. Ever since you saved him that year, he's been visiting our house regularly. At first, your father and I thought it was just gratitude. But after his frequent visits, the way he looked at you became unmistakable. When he realized we'd noticed, he confessed, saying you were still too young, just starting college and unaware of such things, and that he'd wait until you were older. Your father and I were delighted. He's local, and while the age gap is somewhat significant, 6 years is manageable. You'd be the lady of the house after marriage, no worries about mother-in-law drama or complicated family ties. But all his patience was rewarded when you announced dating that Song boy sophomore year. Your father and I were both furious and mortified. When you announced your relationship, he came by our place once, said since you'd found someone you liked, he'd back off and wouldn't tell you. Stopped visiting after that, though he kept sending gifts, with such a perfect example already set. That Song guy your father and I never approved. What does he have besides good looks? Indecisive, easily swayed, complicated family situation. We only tolerated his visits because he treated you decently. And now even that one redeeming quality, after such a short time, he's already forgotten you. How many times did we warn you? You were completely spellbound, wouldn't listen to reason. He postponed our wedding just like that, all for his childhood sweetheart. I came here to show off, but who knew there was this backstory? No wonder my parents didn't say much when Chi Huai and I got our marriage license. They already seemed so familiar with him. Now it's turned into a full-blown intervention targeting me. I could see Mom getting more worked up by the second, about to lose her temper. A sudden idea struck me as I pointed toward the doorway. Chi Huaiji, just as expected. My mother stopped mid-sentence, and I seized the chance to bolt from the room. After scanning the empty hall, I stepped outside and spotted Qi Huaizhi having tea with my father in the garden pavilion, so I headed their way. Without a word, I grabbed his hand to leave. Though confused, Chihuai stood up with my pull, glanced back at my father who waved him off, then followed me out, arm in arm. Chihuai noticed my subdued mood and murmured softly, "Upset." I shook my head, struggling for words. He pulled me into an embrace just as an angry voice cut through the air. "What are you doing?" 9. Turning around, I saw Song Wenjing return looking travel-worn. His gaze was locked onto Qi Huaizhi's arm wrapped around me. I remained silent, burying myself deeper into Qi Huaizhi's embrace to avoid seeing the exhaustion in his eyes or Yun Yao standing demurely behind him. Huaizhi Qi held me close, his eyes glinting with mockery as he watched the pair. "What I do is none of third young master Song's concern." Wenjing Song stepped forward, reaching to grab my hand and pull me away, but Huaizhi pivoted with me, deftly avoiding him before releasing his hold. Song Wenjing's hands trembled as he hastily stepped in front of me. "Ran, don't be afraid, I'm here." Struggling to steady his voice, Ran is my fiancé. Shouldn't President Qi give me an explanation for holding her like this? Watching the man shielding me behind him, my heart swelled with mixed emotions. For over a year now, whenever we argued over Yun Yao, he'd stand protectively in front of her just like this while speaking to me. Ran, stop making a scene. Ran, apologize now. Ran, you shouldn't have, you've never stood firmly by my side. Qi Huaizhi narrowed his eyes slightly, his gaze turning sharp. "Young Master Song, do you owe me an explanation? Shouldn't you explain first?" Repeatedly asking others to look after your childhood sweetheart on various occasions, calling off the wedding on the eve of marriage, leaving your fiancé in the eye of the storm, taking your sweetheart to North America and now bringing her back. What's your game? Song Wenjing froze, turned to look at me, and grabbed my hand. Ran, it's not what you think, there were reasons. I can explain. Qi Huaizhi interrupted him by pulling my hand away. Master Song, restrain yourself. Keep your hands off my wife. Song Wenjing's eyes widened in disbelief as he stared at him. Your wife? Impossible. Ran is my fiancé, we're about to get married. His voice cracked suddenly, those bloodshot eyes fixed on me with desperate hope, lips pressed tight, awaiting my denial. Yet his expectations were never met. I walked over to Qi Huaizhi and stood by his side. I'm already married to him, I am indeed his wife. Song Wenjing froze upon hearing my words. Standing speechless for a long moment before swaying slightly, steadied by Yun Yao, she said softly, Sister Ran moved on awfully quick, didn't she? What perfect timing to stir the pot. Not that I cared, I couldn't even be bothered to glance her way. One sharp look from Qi Huaizhi, and Yun Yao immediately clamped her mouth shut. Song Yunjing shoved away her supporting hand as realization dawned, veins bulging at his temples. So the wedding wasn't cancelled, just a change of bride. Ning Gran. How dare you, marrying someone else at our wedding? Watching the person before me tremble with rage, I nodded. I got married while you were accompanying Yun Yao to North America. It's been a week without contact. Had he reached out to anyone back home, he would have known. If he'd cared even slightly about my situation, he wouldn't have remained clueless until now. But no, he's across the ocean, tending to his childhood sweetheart, fretting over her with unwavering devotion. Song Wenjing felt an excruciating pain in his chest, as if claws were tearing his heart to shreds. How could this happen? After arriving in North America, he lost his phone and didn't have time to replace it. Using a local number, he kept meaning to call Ran, but something always interrupted him. He knew Ran would be furious. He'd already made up his mind after treating Yun Yao's injury. He'd returned to give Ran the grand wedding she deserved. He knew he'd wronged her this time, and vowed to make it up to her tenfold. As for Yun Yao, he'd done enough. A final monetary settlement would honor her parents' past kindness. Ran adored him so deeply he couldn't keep her waiting any longer. But now, rushing back in frantic haste, jet-lagged and heartsick, he collapsed straight backward in a dead faint. The Song family's driver, who'd been standing by, rushed over immediately upon seeing this. Together with Yun Yao, they helped him into the car, without looking back. I held Chihuai's hand and walked home. Ran, this is the first time you've held my hand. My ears burned as I gritted my teeth at his amused, velvety voice. What, can't I hold your hand? Said with growing tenderness in his smile. Of course you can, only yours to hold. When we got home, I asked him about what my mother had told me. Chihuai nodded. I was thinking, after hovering around you for nearly a year without winning your affection, that I must truly not be your type. I quickly shook my head. That's not it, I just didn't dare entertain any hopes back then. You seemed so out of my league, I never thought you'd like someone like me. Chi Huaiji smiled. As long as she didn't dislike him, they could take things slow. That day, I discovered another secret. The person who saved me at the mountain foot during that hiking trip with Song Wenjing and Yun Yaro. It was Chi Huaiji all along, from PH, playing the humble hero now. 10. Later I heard from friends that Song Wenjing was hospitalized with persistent fever. I thought I wouldn't be seeing him again anytime soon, until our housekeeper said someone had been standing outside for hours, asking to see me. I nodded. This needed to be settled properly. Show them in. The flushed cheeks told me Song Wenjing had rushed over while still running a fever, gestured for him to take a seat. Do you have something to say? Song Wenjing moistened his fever-parched lips. Ran, let me explain, I don't have feelings for Yun Yao. The only reason I look after her is because her parents were exceptionally kind to me when they were alive. Now that she's alone, I simply see her as a younger sister. It's you I've always loved, only you. I sighed and poured him a glass of water. Song Wenjing, a gentleman is judged by his actions, not intentions. You're the one who broke off the engagement. You're the one who left me facing judgmental stares. You're the one who flew to North America with Yun Yao. Whenever Yun Yao and I argued, you'd scold me blindly and force apologies. On that hike, you abandoned me, refusing to believe I'd carry Yun Yao to safety. Do you have any idea how awkward you've made things for me by showing up like this today? If Chi Huaiji turns out to be the vindictive type, do you realize how difficult my life will become? Song Wenjing froze. I'm sorry. I just wanted to see you. Then he spoke again. He treats you poorly. Why don't you get divorced? Yes, divorce him. Then marry me instead. You'll still be the same Ran. I think Song Wenjing's lost his damn mind. What are you thinking? I'm perfectly happy now and won't be getting divorced. Song Wenjing murmured. Had I stayed, you would have been my wife, mine. I got to my feet. Marriage isn't child's play. Song Wenjing. Just go, let's end it here. He refused. His voice hoarse with barely contained fury. And what makes Chi Huaiji so worthy that you'd marry him? After all these years together, you'd trust him over me. I enunciated each word slowly while staring at him. Whether I believe him or not doesn't matter, I'll never trust you again. Ever since returning from Yun Yao, you've never once stood firmly by my side. Whenever there's a choice between us, I'm always the one who gets left behind, from clothes and handbags to jewelry. From your time and promises to the wedding dress we designed together, our wedding, and even you yourself, even though it's all in the past, I still feel wronged. My eyes are welling up with tears. Do you know how many times you've ignored me, left me behind? I've even grown accustomed to it. So, Song Wenjing, just go. Go find Yun Yao, or anyone else, just don't come looking for me anymore. Didn't even notice when he left. When Chi Huaiji came home, I told him about it. He listened quietly without any reaction, finally gave a quiet I thought he'd ask more questions. Seeing the confusion in my eyes, he explained patiently, Ran, I know how you are. When you texted me about going to register, I knew you'd already let him go, that he wasn't your choice anymore. I froze for a moment, then laughed. Oh really? But Director Chi, you're holding the documents upside down. Chi Huaiji froze momentarily before correcting the papers with a resigned chuckle. 11. A few days later, while shopping for clothes with my mom, we ran into an auntie who immediately started gossiping with her. Rumor has it that after recovering from his illness, Song Wenjing locked himself in his room and started drowning his sorrows in alcohol. He wouldn't open the door no matter who knocked. That was until someone anonymously sent him an audio recording proving Yun Yao's foot injury wasn't nearly as serious as claimed. Yun Yao bribed the hospital to fabricate medical records. Song Wenjing confronted Yun Yao and they had a huge fight. He froze all her assets and blacklisted her in the industry. Yun Yao hadn't even graduated from her overseas studies. Without proper qualifications and being blacklisted, she's now struggling to make ends meet. Grandpa Song thought Wenjing had a terrible temper and poor judgment, which brought shame to the family, so he exiled him to a remote subsidiary company for tempering, effectively crushing any future ambitions for power. 12. Little did I know we'd meet one last time before he left. Our final encounter happened at a banquet I attended with Chi Huaiji by my side. The banquet hall was stuffy with social obligations, leaving Chi Hui unable to slip away, so I stepped out alone for some fresh air. Before long, Song Wenjing appeared beside me, visibly gaunt and worn. Ran, I'm leaving in a couple days. I just wanted to see you one last time. Yeah, everything went smoothly. Song Wenjing's eyes reddened. His voice hoarse with emotion. I've done a lot of thinking these past few days. For so long, I've been completely wrong, made you endure so much pain. I'm sorry, Ran, I'm so sorry. I nodded. Yeah, it's all in the past now. Anything else? Song Wenjing pressed her lips together, her voice choked with emotion. Yeah. A long silence followed. In college, we could talk endlessly whenever we were together. After graduation, during our rare moments alone, I became the only one who couldn't stop talking. Now when I stay silent, he doesn't know what to say either. In the end, we've reached this wordless silence between us. I turned and walked away. Walk your own path, follow the light to journey's end. There stood Chi Huaiji, leaning casually against the stair rail in his tailored silver-gray suit. Footsteps approaching. I see. The icy gaze melted instantly into tender warmth. I thought to myself, I'm still fortunate. 13. Beep tilde beep. Speak, Chairman Chi. You're the one who called me back to seduce Song Wenjing. Now I'm blacklisted and left in this mess. You can't just abandon me. I merely showed you the golden path. You're the one who stumbled down it, tone dripping with sarcasm. Mind your tongue, or else. After hanging up, the man turned and kissed the sleeping woman in his arms. No more, I'm sleepy. Her delicate voice carried a hint of huskiness. The man's eyes brimmed with tenderness as he spoke softly. All right, sweetheart. Time to sleep. Story 2. After the college entrance exams, I planned a graduation trip with my childhood sweetheart, but when I was rushing to the airport, I suddenly found my flight ticket had been cancelled. As I stood there stunned, bullet comments started flashing before my eyes. Here it comes. This is when the male lead cancels the supporting female's ticket out of pity for the heroine who's never flown before, leading to their big fight. Even if the female antagonist actually bought another train ticket to rush over, the male lead and female lead had already spent a sweet day together, inseparable like glue and lacquer. The male lead didn't even notice the other woman. This was the moment the male lead realized how high maintenance the female antagonist was. With every argument, he discovered another virtue in the female lead, drifting further from the antagonist until he finally ended up with his true love. I ship it. OMG look, the female antagonist is about to text the male lead. The plot's kicking off now. Hurry. I was hesitating about whether to text Chengyi for confirmation when suddenly a message came through. Tang, one has never flown before, so I cancelled your ticket and gave it to her instead. Just take the train to meet us instead, we'll be waiting for you in Lhasa. When I didn't reply, Changye sent another message. You mad? I know you've never had it rough, always been the delicate type. But when WN could endure any hardship, why can't you? I stared fixedly at the message on my phone, so the barrage comments were telling the truth after all. Pressing my lips together, I took out my phone and booked a train ticket. Just a destination. I changed it to another city. Putting away my phone, I told the driver to head to the train station instead. Why isn't the supporting female character making a scene with the male lead? If she doesn't annoy him, how will he realize how wonderful our precious heroine is? This side character's refusing to follow the script. Seriously, not only is she not making a scene, she won't even reply to messages, and on top of ignoring him, she deliberately bought train tickets to Lebanon just to spite the male lead. What a manipulative B***tch. No wonder he can't stand her. Childhood friends means nothing here. The supporting female is such a fake sweetheart. Unlike our precious FL who's poor but fiercely independent, now that's a true female lead archetype. This annoying side character needs to hurry up and follow the script. Does she not realize she's basically an NPC? Her whole purpose is to move the plot along and highlight our FL's awesomeness. Why's she resisting? OMG look. The main couple just checked in for their flight. In just a few hours, their sugary sweet romance officially begins. Can't wait. My hand holding the phone froze mid-air. Ever since when WN transferred here, I've lost count of how many times Chengyi has sacrificed my feelings for her sake. And he still thinks I'm being spoiled. He says when WAN is independent and resilient, able to endure hardships despite her humble family background. I was being spoiled, taking my good fortune for granted. Sometimes we'd plan to watch movies together on weekends, only for Chengyi to bail on me last minute, saying, when WN said a movie ticket costs over 60 yuan, that's 3 hours of her part-time wages, she's not going, you go ahead without us, Tang Tang. I've come to realize how hard our parents work for money, yet Chengyi's parents had just bought him a new laptop costing over 10,000, sometimes their lunch for two would unexpectedly become 3. The fish and meat I ordered somehow ended up in Wenwan's bowl. Tang Tang, you should cut back, eat more greens, but I only weigh 90 pounds, similar incidents are too numerous to mention. Later, he even stood me up on my birthday. I stubbornly waited for Chengyi to arrive before blowing out the candles. 11 o'clock passed, then midnight, and still no word until dawn, not a single message from Chengyi. I tried to convince myself he must have been held up by something. Then I stumbled upon that video, him taking WN street racing. Wenwan held him tightly as they recklessly reveled in their youth on the deserted street. It wasn't until the next day that he muttered in frustration, I forgot yesterday was my birthday, where there used to be just childhood sweethearts. Wenwan now appeared everywhere between them. Until this moment, this graduation trip was a promise Chengyi and I made 3 years ago. Back then, his grades were poor while mine could get me into a top high school. Chengyi practically begged on his knees for us to attend the same school. My heart softened, and I agreed. Chengyi promised me back then that we'd go to Lhasa together after graduation. That's where he planned to confess his feelings to me. We'd attend university together and get married right after graduation. I took it to heart. For 3 years, I poured my heart into helping Chengyi improve his grades until he could rival mine. But ever since when WAN transferred here, it's like she's the only one he sees, tutoring when WAN, accompanying her through everything, things she'd never done before, too. Despite outperforming expectations in the National College entrance exam, he still fell short of getting into the country's most prestigious universities. He assumed I'd keep our promise like before, to stay with him in Southern City. Little did he know, I'd applied to universities in the distant Northern City. To be honest, I've already regretted giving up a key high school for him once. After being abandoned countless times these past 2 years, I'm no longer the person who always puts Chengyi first. I originally planned to use this trip as an opportunity to tell him I'd changed my college preference to Beijing, but once again, he left me behind and went to Lhasa with WN. 3. It was Chengyi who broke our agreement first. 4. Flights to Lhasa during summer break are in extremely high demand. After Chengyi cancelled my ticket, there was absolutely no chance of getting another flight on short notice. The train tickets were sold out too. Thankfully I managed to snag a ticket to Lebanon using a ticket buying app, though it cost extra, and it's a private compartment, no less. The moment I settled in, Chengyi's message popped up. Tang Tang, you're coming by train, right? When WN said the hard seat would be exhausting, with over 40 hours to Lhasa. But the scenery along the way is absolutely breathtaking, something you'd never see from a plane. Consider yourself lucky, I scoffed, pocketed my phone without replying. Truth be told, after learning he'd cancelled my flight, I debated whether to continue this trip at all. After much deliberation, I decided to stick to my original travel plans. The decision to go to Lhasa wasn't made because of Chengyi. This is a planned step in my life journey. I won't abandon it for Chengyi. Besides, stopping in Lebanon isn't such a bad alternative. Lebanon is another city I truly adore, so it worked out perfectly that we got to visit together this time. The journey from Haicheng to Lhasa passes through multiple cities and takes over 40 hours by train. He knew full well how exhausting train travel would be, yet went ahead and cancelled my flight without even consulting me. He sacrificed my money, my time, and my nervous excitement as a first-time solo traveler facing the unknown, all just to indulge Wenwan's maiden voyage. I've made up my mind to let go, yet my chest still feels tight, with waves of dull ache washing over me. Just then, bullet comments started floating across the screen. Gotta admit the supporting female lead really loves the male lead. Even after being abandoned countless times, she still chases after him without hesitation. Didn't even mind going to Lebanon first when she lost her train ticket. TSK. Perfect. I was worried the main couple's romance would stall without the supporting female character as catalyst, but she's still pushing the plot forward, even with that hiccup. She chased after them anyway, flawless execution. God, that supporting actress has no shame. After being coldly rejected so many times, she still clings to them like a damn leech. What a pathetic simp, hilarious. I just glanced at the barrage comments before looking away. 5. The private room was pleasantly quiet, though a bit pricey. Watching the ever-changing scenery outside the window gradually lifted my gloomy mood. The next day, I arrived in Lebanon without a hitch. I bought a map of Lebanon, circled all the attractions I wanted to visit, and looked up travel guides online. Since I arrived quite late that day, I booked a hotel near the scenic area. I had just laid down to rest when Wan's social media post popped up on my feed. Gave the last room to a young couple, so now I have to share with someone special. Blushing. The photo showed a hotel room, though when Wan didn't directly photograph the bed, Cheng Yi's reflection was clearly visible in the glass, lounging on the sole bed while scrolling through his phone. My hand holding the phone froze. At the same moment, the phone vibrated. Cheng Yi, where are you now? When Wan said the scenery along the way is gorgeous, take some photos for me. When I didn't reply, they sent another, my way. I let out a derisive laugh, set the alarm and powered off the phone. Lights out. Oh, look at Miss Tsunda here. Think the male lead will panic just because you're ignoring his texts. Look at her still making travel plans like she's gonna spend days touring Lebanon. How selfish can she be? Doesn't she know the main couple is waiting for her in Lhasa? Always thinking about herself, right? The male lead hasn't seen her messages, and even the female lead is giving half-hearted replies now. Can't this supporting character stop stirring up trouble? Is she gonna die if she doesn't ruin the main couple's relationship? What a bitch. Let her have her fun. By the time she reaches Lhasa, the main couple will already be in a forced love situation. Ha ha ha. Can't wait to see her reaction then. Exactly. Seeing her so carefree right now makes me furious. Heh. The more she acts up now, the harder she'll crash when she gets to Lhasa. Hehe. Let her make a scene, we'll soon see her throw a tantrum. Ha ha ha. I ignored the barrage of comments and closed my eyes. 6. After thoroughly enjoying my day in Lebanon, I finally opened my phone to book train tickets. Surprisingly, there are plenty of train tickets available from here to Lhasa. I couldn't get a ticket to Lhasa, so I ended up booking one to Lanzhou instead. When Cheng Yi noticed I hadn't replied to his messages, he gave me a call. I accidentally answered when pulling out my phone. Tang, where are you now? I heard Cheng Yi's voice coming through the phone. What's wrong? I paused briefly before replying coolly. On the other end, Cheng Yi seemed to pick up on my aloofness. He stayed silent for a moment before forcing a casual tone. Tang, where are you now? I'll pick you up at the train station. I paused for a moment. No need. You guys go ahead and have fun. Just as expected, Cheng Yi immediately lost his temper on the other end of the line. Tang, what do you mean by that? You guys have fun. Wasn't Lhasa your lifelong dream? I cancelled my trip to Hainan with friends just to come to this godforsaken place with you. And now you're giving me attitude. Seeing I remained silent, Cheng Yi's anger seemed to subside a little. He asked uncertainly, Tang, you're not actually mad, are you? Just because I gave your plane ticket to Wan. Before I could speak, Cheng Yi let out a cold laugh. Tang, that's enough. How much longer are you going to keep this up? Didn't I tell you? I just wanted to fulfill Wan's dream of flying. She's never been on a plane before, and you're seriously making a big deal out of this. Go ahead, keep acting out. Who else but me would put up with your terrible temper? I sighed at the beeping sound from my phone. Am I really that bad-tempered? But he was the one who walked away first. I didn't even say anything inappropriate. Since when am I bad-tempered? Ha ha ha. The female lead's shocked, isn't she? With our sweet, understanding heroine as comparison, she actually thought the male lead would keep pampering her. First she coquettishly stays in Lebanon, then deliberately wants to go to Lanzhou. She really overestimates her importance to the male lead. Hilarious. TSK. Does this supporting actress even know what boundaries are? Ignoring the barrage of comments, I extended my stay in Lanzhou for 3 more days before making a detour to Dunhuang. The landscapes of Dunhuang are something you'd never ever witness in Haicheng. The vast desert and crescent moon spring left me utterly breathless. Not to mention the awe-inspiring murals that completely blew me away. Dunhuang was absolutely worth the trip. I stayed in Dunhuang for 3 more days before boarding the train to Lhasa, strangely enough. I barely thought about Chengyi during those 8 or 9 days. It was as if the moment I let him go, he truly faded from my sight. I once came across a post online. The post claimed it only takes 7 days to form a new habit. I think that's actually true, because sure enough, even during the still of night, I rarely think of him anymore. Chengyi hasn't reached out to me since that last message. We've been practically out of touch these days. Yet his social media updates have been unusually frequent. He's been spending all this time with Wen Wan, sharing a room together, making heart hands in front of Potala Palace, checked in at Jokang Temple again, even took couple photos in Barkhor Street, 8 social media posts a day. Nearly every single one featured him and Wen Wan together. Yet strangely, I felt absolutely nothing when I saw them, not even. They actually make a pretty good match. 7. The moment I arrived in Lhasa, I saw the message my mom had sent me. Tang Tang, your college acceptance letter just arrived. By the way, Chengyi's mom just asked about co-hosting an admission celebration. Does Chengyi not know you're going to Beicheng? I was just thinking how to respond when someone suddenly clapped me hard on the shoulder. Ju Tang, it really is you. Standing before me were a man and a woman, none other than Chengyi and Wen Wan. Chengyi's eyes lit up when he saw me. Immediately stepping forward to approach, I gave them a brief glance before heading to the front desk to check in. Wen Wan didn't seem to notice my aloofness and followed me anyway. Ju Tang, what took you so long? You have no idea how amazing Lhasa is. Chengyi and I have already explored half the city. Where do you want to go next? I'll have Chengyi accompany you. After completing the formalities, I ignored her and wheeled my suitcase toward the room. As I passed Chengyi, he grabbed my arm forcefully. Chengyi frowned, his expression darkened slightly. Ju Tang, are you done making a scene? I've been ignoring you on purpose for days. Don't you even realize what you did wrong? What's your problem? Didn't you hear Wan talking to you? You looking down on people or something? Wan looked startled, waving her hands frantically as she defended me. Don't shout like that. You're being so harsh on Ju Tang. Then she glanced at me sheepishly. Ju Tang, don't get the wrong idea. He's always like this with everyone except me. Just impatient by nature. I know you two grew up together, and I could never compete with your place in Chengye's heart. I won't come between you, I promise. She reached for my arm again as she spoke. But the moment I pulled away, she stumbled backward and fell hard onto the ground. Wen Wan, I was shoved hard. Stumbling, I fell to the ground with all my luggage. Ju Tang. What the hell are you doing? How dare you bully Wan right in front of me? After all her worries about why you hadn't shown up yet, if we'd known you were this vicious, we'd have left Lhasa long ago. Your well-being means nothing to us. Feeling the searing pain in my knees, I took a deep breath and stood up. When I looked up, I saw Changye shielding Wan in his arms, gazing at me with disappointment. Ju Tang, apologize to Wan. Otherwise, forget about us co-hosting your college celebration party. I halted mid-step, a glimmer of amusement flashed in Chengyi's eyes. Tang, I know I was helping Wen Wan with her part-time job when we were filling out college applications, but I'm aware you came looking for me twice. You must have found out which school I applied to, didn't you? Apologize to Wen Wan now, and I might still forgive you. Let's stick to our original plan, host the graduation celebration together and go to college together. If you keep being this stubborn, don't blame me for what happens next. As Chengyi's words faded, another wave of comments flooded the screen. Haha, watching the male lead protect his wife is so satisfying. That villainess is truly despicable. How dare she bully our sweetheart? I just wanna smash her stupid face in. TSK, does that homewrecker have no shame? Dragging her feet on the road only to reach Lhasa today, yet scrambling to stay at the same hotel as the main couple. Pathetic, right? She acts all resigned, but let's be real, she's obsessed. Even with her flight changed, she chased after them by train. Well, at least her arrival will speed up the main couple's romance, nothing like a jealous third wheel to spark passion. The FL's devotion is next level. She visited the ML multiple times during college applications. But our king was too busy doting on his princess, chauffeur service included, to spare her a glance. Squinting my eyes, it finally came back to me. After submitting my college applications, I did go looking for Chengyi twice. but both times he was working part-time with Wen WN, so I never got to see him. Truth is, he got the wrong idea. I did visit him twice, but my college applications were already finalized by then. I just wanted to tell him I couldn't attend the same university as him. Maybe Cheng Yi thought those 2 visits were just to pry about which school he'd chosen. Exactly, attending the same university together, celebrating our college acceptance with a joint banquet, that was something I'd always dreamed of. He knew what I longed for. That's why when filling out applications, he didn't even consult me before choosing the local university with Wen WAN. He knew I'd move heaven and earth to get into the same school as him without him even asking. Because I'd pulled that exact stupid stunt back in high school, so he was dead certain I'd apply to local universities too. But now, yet he foolishly tried to manipulate me with these expectations, as if skipping our joint graduation celebration together would somehow devastate me. Little does he know, I stopped caring about these things long ago. My heart gradually grew cold after being repeatedly chosen, ignored, and abandoned. I carried my luggage to the hotel room. Truth be told, I'd considered staying at a different hotel before checking in. To be honest, I didn't want to stay at the same hotel as them to avoid ruining my mood, but it's summer vacation now, and the place is packed with tourists. Hotels are nearly sold out. Even if you managed to book another hotel, the rates would be hundreds or even over $1,000 higher per night. On second thought, I decided to drop it. I haven't done anything to wrong them, so there's no need to avoid them. Whether we'll meet again or not doesn't really matter to me. 8. As if to spite me, Cheng Yi and Wen WN continued sharing a room after I moved in. They lived together, ate together, and were always seen as a pair, practically the picture of a couple deeply in love. I simply ignored them. After resting for a while, I headed to a popular viral restaurant in the area. Before arriving, I met a fellow traveler on the train from Lanzhou to Dunhuang who highly recommended this trendy spot, raving about its great flavors, so I made reservations several days in advance. Even before reaching Lhasa, when I arrived at the restaurant, I saw a long queue of people waiting outside. To my surprise, Cheng Yi and Wen WN were among them too. Wen WN noticed and her smile faded. Ju Tang, here for dinner too. Cheng Yi still seemed upset about me not apologizing to Wen WAN. He gave me a cold glance before looking away. When Wen WAN noticed my silence, she continued without missing a beat. Ju Tang, why don't you join us? The restaurants here are quite pricey. Splitting the bill 3 ways would work perfectly. Before I could respond, she suddenly went adding, sorry, I forgot your family's probably well off. You must have brought plenty of cash, right? Sigh. Not like me, I had to save for months just to afford this Lhasa trip. When Wan's voice was a bit too loud, there was quite a line at the entrance. And some people who overheard her words started giving me dirty looks. Speaking of which, I suddenly remembered my refunded plane ticket. I walked over. In that case, how about returning my ticket money? When WN froze. What? I was stunned. You didn't know. The 5,800 for your round-trip ticket came out of my pocket. Pay me back. Smiling, I pulled up my QR code. This trip was planned well in advance. I found booking flights too bothersome, so I had Cheng Yi handle the tickets and later reimbursed him. When the refund came through, the money went back to Cheng Yi's account, yet he never transferred it back to me. Cheng Yi noticed Wen Wan's stiff expression and suddenly flared up with anger. Ju Tang, what's your problem? Do you really think I'd stiff you on the airfare? I wiped the smile off my face. Then transfer it to me. Cheng Yi transferred over 5,000 to me with a dark scowl on his face. I suddenly chuckled. Wen WN, I actually believed your independent woman persona was genuine. Turns out even you rely on a man's money when traveling. I suddenly gasped and covered my mouth in shock. No way, you're sharing a room with Cheng Yi because you can't afford your own, right? I looked at her with pity all over my face. Wen WAN, if you're broke, you could have just borrowed from me. Was it really worth compromising yourself for this trip? Don't you think, Ju Tang? You're absolutely despicable. Wen WN seemed deeply hurt, tears streaming down her face like broken pearls. She covered her face and rushed out. Ju Tang, I never imagined you could be this kind of person. Cheng Yi looked at me with utter disappointment, as if seeing me for the first time, then rushed out after her. Just as my number was called, while I was eating, I couldn't help but go for an extra bowl of rice. 9. That evening when I returned from dinner, I saw Cheng Yi just stepping out of my room. I froze. Were you in my room? To my surprise, Cheng Yi just gave me a helpless look. Ju Tang, I know you're jealous, that's why you deliberately humiliated Wen WN with those words earlier. He reached to pat my head, but I stepped back to avoid it. He chuckled and withdrew his hand. Alright, Ju Tang, let's make up, shall we? No more fighting or fussing. I know you're uncomfortable seeing me live with Wanwan, so I've asked her to move out and stay with you instead. Don't be mad anymore, okay? I shot Cheng Yi a frosty glare and shoved the door open. Inside, I saw Wanwan sprawled across my bed with my facial mask on. Tang Tang, you're back. Wanwan greeted me with a smile, as if this room belonged to her. An unopened skincare set on the table had been casually torn open. Toner was spilled across the table. A sudden surge of emotion choked me, leaving me gasping for air. Cheng Yi followed me inside. Noticing my gaze fixed on the table, he said with a smile, Tang Tang, I've already apologized to Wen WN on your behalf. Wen WN says she doesn't blame you, but I still think an apology should come with some compensation. How about your, get the hell out? Cheng Yi didn't even finish before my roar cut him off. He stared at me with a grim expression. Say that again. I shot Cheng Yi a frosty glare before yanking the blanket off Wen WN and dragging her out of my bed. Grabbing Wen WN by the collar, I shoved her straight out the door. Ju Tang, what the hell are you doing? Cheng Yi moved to stop me. Before he could finish, I shoved him out with all my strength. Not stopping there, I hurled Wen Wan's suitcase and clothes out too, leaving the hallway littered with her belongings. Enough, Ju Tang, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you trying to ruin everything? Are you really that impossible to appease? Cheng Yi looked visibly agitated. You publicly humiliated Wen WN out there, yet she's being the bigger person about it. She knew you were upset about us living together, so she offered to move in with you instead. Look at how you're behaving, this is completely out of line. Wen Wan's tear-streaked face was all the response he got. Ju Tang, how could you do this to me? I'll let your insults slide, not that I have a choice anyway. I know you and Cheng Yi share that childhood bond. I never wanted to come between you. I was literally moving out and already downstairs when Cheng Yi insisted I stay with you. I thought, maybe if I lived here, you'd finally stop humiliating me, but I never expected you'd actually throw me out like this. Ju Tang, I have my pride too. I've already stepped aside for you and Cheng Yi isn't that enough. Are you really trying to drive me to my grave? Answer me, is that what you want? I sneered coldly. Drive you to your grave? Was I wrong to reclaim what I paid for my own ticket? Breaking into my room and using my stuff without permission is illegal. Wen WAN, I don't care what's going on between you and Cheng Yi, honestly, it means nothing to me. I don't care if you're living together, and I don't care if you're having fun. Right now, I just need you both to stay the hell away from me, because honestly, it makes me sick. Before they could say a word, I slammed the door shut with a bang. Outside, Cheng Yi kicked the door in frustration. Ju Tang, you'll regret this. Moments later, I received a photo from Wen WAN on my phone. A streak of crimson on the disheveled sheets. She lay pinned in the man's embrace. She whispered, "You lost." A wave of nausea washed over me. I couldn't help but rush to the bathroom and vomit violently. Barely making it out, I shook my foggy head. How should I put this? Sad? Not really. But saying I'm not sad doesn't feel quite right either. After all, those were years of my youth. But now, it's really over. I deleted Wen WN and blocked Cheng Yi. I tossed my phone aside without a second thought. I threw away the skincare products Wen WN had used, then had someone come change all the bedding. That night, I thought I'd toss and turn. I expected to lie awake till dawn, yet strangely, I slept soundly through the night. I stared at the ceiling for a long moment before suddenly bursting into laughter. 10. On my way out for dinner, I saw two people hiring a private car, apparently planning a short trip. Wen WN spotted me and walked over with a smile. Ju Tang, we're taking a 2-day trip around the area, want to join us? Cheng Yi stood behind her, watching me with an unreadable expression. I took 2 steps back and smiled. You two go ahead, I won't intrude. A spark lit up in Wen Wan's eyes, but Cheng Yi took a step forward. My mom called this morning saying my acceptance letter arrived. Did yours come yet? I nodded. Cheng Yi sighed in relief. Should I tell my mom we'll have our college celebration together? I smiled faintly. No. Cheng Yi's face froze. Why? I waved at them both. Have fun. You too. I turned around. 11. Over the next 3 days, I visited all the nearby attractions. Of course, I also got a professional photo shoot done. I rarely dress up, but surprisingly, the makeup turned out stunning that day. Even the makeup artist kept complimenting me. Feeling thrilled, I couldn't resist taking some selfies and posting them on Moments. Surprisingly, the post got quite a few likes. Everyone said they'd never seen this side of me before. Some classmates even DM'd me jokingly saying, "Ju Tang, don't you dare date anyone in college, wait for me to grow up." Amid the laughter and banter with classmates, my phone rang with an unknown number. When I answered, it turned out to be Cheng Yi. His voice carried a hint of cautious hesitation. "Tang Tang, you've blocked me." I stayed silent. There was a pause on the other end, followed by a sigh. "Let's make up, Tang Tang, please. Don't be like this." I was about to hang up when the person on the other end seemed to sense something. "Don't hang up, Tang Tang. I just wanted to ask, we're heading back soon. Would you like to come home with us?" I sneered coldly. They'd booked round-trip tickets. He knew perfectly well tickets were impossible to get now. Couldn't even get train tickets, let alone flight tickets. I hung up immediately and blocked them in one go. I was actually planning to go back too, but flights are sold out and train tickets are scarce. After discussing with my mom, I decided to extend my trip for a while longer. I really want to visit Lijiang. My mom fully supports my plan. Lijiang is breathtaking, with scenery you'd never see in our coastal city. I took my time wandering around and captured lots of beautiful photos. I ended up staying and having fun for over 10 more days before heading back. I got some calls from unknown numbers during that time, but I ignored them all. Every time they called, I blocked the number immediately. 12. When I arrived in Beicheng, I thought my parents would be there to pick me up, but to my surprise, it was Cheng Yi who showed up, though barely 2 weeks had passed. Seeing him again felt like reuniting after lifetimes apart. "Your parents have already gone to the hotel. I told them I'd come pick you up." With that, he reached for my luggage. His hand accidentally brushed against the back of mine. I jerked my hand away as if startled. The spot he touched felt disgustingly clammy. That's kinda gross." Cheng Yi looked at me with sadness in his eyes. "Ju Tang, I think you've changed. Honestly, I'm a bit annoyed, facing Cheng Yi like this. I'm really irritated." I looked at him seriously. "You didn't have to come pick me up. I know today is Cheng Yi's college celebration banquet. Also aware it's co-hosted with Wen WN. He told his mom it's just adding one more person. Cheng Yi's mother and mine are close friends. Cheng Yi's mom originally suggested we handle things together with Cheng Yi, but my mom politely declined. At my request, she also kept my plans to go to Beicheng from everyone else. Cheng Yi thinks I'm still throwing a tantrum. "Ju Tang, I know you must be upset about me co-hosting the college celebration banquet with Wen WN today, but you know how tough Wen Wan's family situation is. I just added one more person to the event. That's all." He looked at me expectantly. If you're not okay with this, Just then, my phone rang. The phone call lasted all the way until we reached the hotel entrance. As I stepped out of the car, I saw Chen Chengye's face darken with anger. "Who are you talking to?" he asked. Frowning at me. "You've been out having fun for days without coming back, blocked my number, refused to attend the college celebration with me, all because of this person. Ju Tang, I never expected you'd become such a two-timer." Cheng Yi's words were abruptly cut off by Wen WN. Wen WN looked stunning today, a white dress with a pearl headband. Her face was adorned with delicate makeup. "Ju Tang, you made it. Welcome to I and my college celebration banquet." I nodded and walked past them into the banquet hall. 13. The only reason I came today was to save face for my mom and Cheng Yi's mother. Spotting my mother, I was about to complain when she beat me to it with an explanation. "Cheng Yi said he upset you and insisted on picking you up himself. I happened to be held back by his mother again, so I couldn't get away." My mother's gaze landed on Wen WAN, who was clinging to Cheng Yi's arm. "Tang Tang, tell me honestly, are Cheng Yi and that girl dating?" It wasn't until after arriving that my mother realized Cheng Yi was actually co-hosting this college celebration banquet with a girl. I sighed and told her everything that had happened between Cheng Yi and me recently. My mother listened in silence and gave me a comforting pat. "Let's head back early after dinner." I nodded. At today's college celebration banquet, Wen Wan's parents came too, bringing along a younger brother, dressed in brand new outfits. They gazed at Cheng Yi with unmistakable approval in their eyes. They couldn't stop boasting to everyone about their daughter's excellent taste. The whole affair felt less like a college celebration and more like an engagement party. I made up an excuse to my mom and left early. I had a bowl of tomato and egg noodles downstairs, then got some proper sleep. When I woke up the next morning, Mom mentioned Changye had stopped by. I just muttered without saying anything else. Ever since Changye and Wanwan co-hosted that college acceptance party, people kept asking me if they were dating. I just smiled and answered I don't know to everything. I genuinely didn't know, as I'd already gone back to my grandma's place in the countryside. During that time, Cheng Yi even changed his number to contact me, asking when I'd return. I ignored all his attempts. I stayed at my grandma's place until just 2 days before school started before heading back to the city. My luggage had been packed long before. My mom wanted to see me off, but I turned her down. After traveling solo for most of the summer, I'm no longer a sheltered kid, 14, until the first day of school. After completing all the enrollment procedures, I finally noticed an unknown number that had called over 30 times. Soon, the phone rang again. I answered the call. Ju Tang, you didn't show up for registration. Cheng Yi's voice wavered, trembling slightly. I responded with a faint Did you go to Beijing? I just hummed in response. So you were just playing me this whole time? Cheng Yi was hysterical on the other end of the line. Ju Tang, have you no heart? You blocked me all summer, and now you went to Beijing alone. What the hell is your problem? Ju Tang, you think messing with me is fun, huh? I let out a sigh. I don't know why Cheng Yi became like this. In my memories, he was radiant like sunshine. I thought, even if we couldn't be friends, but at the very least, it shouldn't be like this. I sent back to him the photo when WN had originally shared with me. Cheng Yi, we promised we'd attend the same university together. But you were the one who broke our promise first. You were the one who left me first. The moment you kept choosing when WN over and over, there was no going back for us. You, take care. I hung up the phone. The next day, to my surprise, I saw Cheng Yi at the door. He looked like he hadn't slept for days. Tang Tang. Cheng Yi called out as he spotted me, taking 2 steps forward. Maybe I've been too distant. This made Cheng Yi freeze in his tracks. Tang Tang, I'm sorry, honestly, there's nothing to apologize for. When we made that promise, both our hearts were true. That's enough. Not every relationship needs to be picture perfect. Love's like that, either he breaks my heart, or I break his. It just so happened that he was the one who wronged me. To be honest, apart from giving my plane ticket to WAN, he didn't really do me any actual harm. I even treated Cheng Yi to a meal outside. After dinner, I saw him off at the airport. Cheng Yi, goodbye. I waved my hand. 15. Later, I heard, on the first day of school, Cheng Yi assumed we were attending the same university. He waited from dawn till dusk, but I never showed up. It wasn't until a classmate saw my Beijing-located WeChat post. That's when he finally realized. Turns out I never wanted to from the very beginning. I never chose to be with him in the first place. Why isn't the supporting female character making a scene with the male lead? If she doesn't act up, how will he realize how annoying she is and appreciate our sweet female lead? So annoying, she's not following the script. Even that turned out to be just his delusion. He was convinced I was throwing a tantrum, trying to give me the cold shoulder to teach me a lesson. It all became a joke. Later, I heard again. Before long, he and Wanwan had a complete falling out too. The reason was when WN had repeatedly asked him for money, because when WN had a younger brother, Cheng Yi initially gave in, but eventually stopped. When Wan's family then confronted the school, accusing him of sleeping with their daughter and demanding compensation, the situation blew up, and in the end it was Cheng Yi's parents who resolved it. Rumor has it they spent a fortune. When Wan's reputation took a hit, and she soon dropped out of school. When my mom told me about all this, I just smiled. I've started a new life. Things from the past. Let bygones be bygones. The end.